hey, hello, hi. Anthony Fantano here, internet's busiest music nerd, and it's time for the weekly track roundup where I give my thoughts on all of the singles, at least the tracks that I noticed that dropped this past week, whether I loved them, I hated them, or felt somewhere in between. Now, of course, down there are all the songs I'm going to be talking about in this video, along with our Turntable Lab link. We get kickback from that. Hit that up if you like. Also, our Patreon page, get some sick, awesome, extra bonus monthly content in the process of signing up for a very cheap tier over there. And of course, I also want to give a shout out down there to a link for our sponsor. As always, the good people over at The Ridge. They still make these awesome, sleek, sexy, minimalist wallets that fit nicely in your front pocket. Hit up that link down below. And make sure you use promo code MELON because then you get 10% off. That's MELON. Cool? Cool. Also, I want to give a shout out to a link down below to a cover of the song I'd Rather Die by the Nashville punk trio Tramp Stamps. I played bass on a Power Violence cover of that song, and it's great. And the proceeds go to charity, so that's pretty awesome too. And hell yeah to Tramp Stamps, the greatest punk band of all time. So yeah, check out the cover. Cool? Cool. All right, worst tracks of the week. We have a couple, we have a few. Let's go. Let's do it, starting with Young Boy, Never Broke Again, I Ain't Scared. And this one over here, just thought I'd check in on the guy's music. It's been a while since I formally said anything about a single, a project, and anything. I Ain't Scared, again, is the title if I didn't say. And yeah, beat is cheap, vocals are terrible, the auto-tune sounds awful. I just don't get the appeal of this guy's music. I mean, there are so many people doing exactly this better. Like 5, 6, 7 times better. Like what he's doing here is so widely available, but yet also better. I'm stunned as to how there's any momentum behind this, but okay. We also have at least one track I want to mention here from the new Young Stoner Life, Young Thug and Gunna project, Solid featuring Drake. Total snoozer. I mean, not every song that I've heard off this thing so far is bad, but there are like very obviously some duds like right out of the gate on this thing. There's 23 tracks on this project. I'll be reviewing it soon, and my hopes are not high that it's going to be all that consistent, but I guess we'll see. We also have a new one from Token. It's that rippity rap and rap style rap, but this time it's slightly more experimental and industrial. Maybe slightly better than some of the other songs from him that I've heard, but still not all that great, in my opinion. We also have one from Ian Dior over here. Trippy Red on the track, Shots in the Dark, utterly forgettable. It's like a watered-down Juice WRLD. And Girl in Red, an artist whose tracks have really been popping off on TikTok. You Stupid Bitch is the title of this one over here. And I don't know, I'm just not seeing the appeal. It's like a really generic indie rock tune with a somewhat atmospheric dark edge to it. And I'm not enjoying the lyrics at all. They seem really gaslighty and unnecessarily nasty. Now, I'm completely open to the idea that the lyricism on this track is intended to be satirical or, you know, make a point or embody some kind of negativity that the track itself is trying to refute or portray in some kind of ugly reality type fashion. But I just don't really get that sense. You know, again, I don't think anyone would willingly be this much of a dick on a song in 2021. And, you know, most likely the politics of Girl in Red is not represented by the actuality of the lyrics in this track. But still, I mean, if this is satire, if this is a commentary on exactly what the lyrics are embodying, I feel like it's really severely missing the mark. And I guess I'll say that. All right, meh. Starting with this brand new track from Twin Shadow. I hadn't listened to a new Twin Shadow track in a while. Alimania is the title of it. I'm liking that it's almost like a weird mix of 60s psych and some Bob Dylan rambly style folk, but then it bursts into this absolutely gorgeous chorus that soars and is so bright and beautiful. I love the hook, but I'm a little underwhelmed by the verses, I guess. We also have a new one from Suicide Boys. I think they are totally phoning it in on this one, though I guess it is certainly listenable. We also have a new one from Redman over here, 80 Bars. I think it's got some great quotables, and I like the attempt at kind of throwing it back to the 80s on the groove. The beat sounds like something that Rakim would rap over back in the day, but the song itself, I think, could use some work, and the production doesn't quite go far enough aesthetically to embody that 80s vibe, I think. We also have a new one over here from Moneybagg Yo with Big 30 on it, and I think it's got a great groove, great trap beat, good, dirty, grimy energy to it as well. Easily one of the more enjoyable tracks I've heard from this artist as of late. We've also got a new one from Jenny Lewis and Serengeti. I'm not super crazy about this track, honestly, though part of me does really respect that these two have come from seemingly different worlds and crossed over onto this somewhat experimental indie-tronic piece. That's kind of cool. Again, I'm not crazy about the end results, but it is unlikely and surprising for both artists involved, so check it out, I suppose. We also have Gojira, another track from their forthcoming record, Into the Storm. It's decent, but it is the weakest of all of the teasers thus far. But regardless, some decent riffs, a good throttling, kind of heavy, sludgy, progressive metal energy as well. Give it a try. Give it a listen. We also have a new one from, this was kind of a surprise. Gaspard of Justice has come out with a single, Force Majeure. And I imagine a full-length record on the way. It's a really heavy, punchy piece of synthwave with a very maxed out mix and a somewhat, nostalgic flair to it. While it's not the best thing I've ever heard in this vein, in this style, I'm certainly excited to, hear at least one half of Justice kind of doing some, getting the ball rolling on something. Project to come out soon, fingers crossed. We also have a new one from Dave over here, which I'm not too crazy about. I've heard a lot of hype around the two new tracks and singles that have been dropped. Titanium is the one over here that I'd like to point your attention to. But I found it absolutely underwhelming. Flow was too spaced out, and while I guess the rapping was quite expressive, just thought the track overall was drab. Just not feeling this new Dave track, but I know Dave has a lot of hardcore fans out there. The enjoyment of his music has really kind of eluded me still up until this point, but maybe one day. Maybe one day. We have a new one from Chai, record on the way. Let's Love is the title of this one. It's a disco track with a somewhat awkward performance, I suppose. I think it could have been a little tighter, a little bit slicker, but still psyched for the new record. We've got the Black Keys, new track out now, new record on the way. It's going to be a covers album. This one over here is a John Lee Hooker cover, from what I understand. Crawling King Snake. It's bluesy, it's groovy, it's low key. Stylistically, kind of throws it back to the Black Keys' first handful of records, which is cool. But I do think it does get a little tiresome after a while, and this is not one of Dan's stronger vocal performances. I will say that. We also have a new one from Big Crit. Pick up the pace. It's sort of a punchy, hyped up, sporty banger that's kind of short, just kind of meant to, get you moving, that sort of thing. Not too bad, but certainly far from his best work. We also have one from Bebe Rexha. I think the track is a little overproduced here. I mean, it is a Bebe Rexha track. I think that's to be expected, but it's a really good song. I think a lot of thought went into these lyrics, the isolation and the sort of burning bridges narrative of the whole thing. Burning bridges narrative of the whole thing. And I think the singing is on point as well. I like the tune. I'm just going to say it's one of her better tracks. Is the production just a little much? Yeah, but still, I think it's a good track. And also shout out to Beach Bunny for coming through with this version of Cloud 9 with Tegan and Sarah on it. That's kind of cool. That's kind of cool for the Beach Bunny fans out there. And I don't know. I think it adds to the track a little bit, I suppose. Maybe I'll stick with the original, but it's cool that it happened. And let's get into the best tracks. Best tracks of the week. The ones that really grabbed my attention, blew me away, left an impression, starting with... Boop, 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 boop. New one from Tom Jones, Pop Star. That Tom Jones. It's not unusual Tom Jones. Yes, I'm talking about that Tom Jones. And if you're familiar with his most popular tracks, I mean, wipe that entirely from your memory and go into this song with opened ears and open eyes, because this is borderline insane. I have no idea where Tom Jones is mentally right now. The instrumental sounds like something that James Murphy would produce. Tom's vocals are totally wild and raw and rough around the edges, and it's easily one of the weirdest things I've heard from him, and easily one of the weirdest things I've ever heard from anyone kind of cut from his cloth. So hopefully there's more tracks that are this daring and strange to come from Mr. Jones, I guess. Give it a listen. Give it a try. We also have a new one from T Grizzley and G Herbo. Never bend, never fold. I will say this. It's hard. It's hard. It's hard. It's hard. I think that's the most you can really say. It's freaking hard. It's freaking hard. It's hard as frick. And I'll leave it there. We also have a new one over here from Spelling, new record on the way. Very exciting because I really enjoy the last Spelling record. It's not a perfect album, but I heard a lot of potential there and hope that something greater would come down the road. And I feel like this track is it. Now, I'm hearing from some people that Little Deer, that's the title of this track, the vocals are weirding people out a little bit. The vocals are a bit much. I mean, if you didn't have the vocals on here, I feel like the very luscious, dense instrumental would be a little too generic. You know, the fact that the instrumental is so sweet and so predictable in a way, I think gives the vocals a great foundation to just be a little offbeat, be a little left field, be a little strange, strangely beautiful, in my opinion. I think it's a good tune. I think it's a good mix in terms of like familiar, but also just a little strange, a little mystical, a little weird. I think it's great. I'm really looking forward to the Spelling album. Hell yes to Spelling. We also have Sam Gellaitry. I don't think I've been in contact with this dude multiple times, and I never really got down the pronunciation of his name, and I apologize for that. But he does have a new track out over here titled Duo. Big Toro y Moi vibes on this one. I love the tune. I love the production. Great energy. I actually think it's one of his best singles, period, that I've ever heard from him. So check it out. It's a good listen. We have Rina Sawayama and Elton John on their duet version of Chosen Family. It's beautiful. I cried in the car to this shit. It's gorgeous. It's amazing. It's immaculate. Yeah, you know, maybe you could make the argument that it's a little too over the top and super cleanly produced. I mean, it sounds like something that, you know, Elton himself would have written and recorded in the 2000s or late 90s, that sort of thing, with like, you know, a huge studio budget. But I think that's kind of the point, you know, and if you don't like this version, you can always listen to the original version on Sawayama, which is also great. But, you know, I think Sawayama and Elton John have a great vocal chemistry on this one. I think the ending is climactic as hell and beautiful. And I think all the work Rina has put in vocally in terms of like advancing and just growing her vocal chops over the course of, you know, her big breakout EP, her self-titled record, and here and now to this point, I think you know, she's gotten to the point where she can go toe-to-toe a little bit with Elton John on a song, and they just sound great together. They sound great. It sounds fantastic. Loving it. And that's all I got to say. All right, McCartney, 3 Imagined. It's out now. All the various collaborators and artists. I'm just basically putting this here to remind you that it's out. Check it out. I'd like to specifically point out the Phoebe Bridgers track, which is fantastic. Give it a listen. Woo! All right. We also have the first taste of the upcoming Natalia Lafourcade record, Pepe Aguilar, on the track over here, Cien, Años. If you guys remembered, I really loved that record, Un Canto por Mexico Volume 1. Looks like we're going to be getting Volume 2 this year, and the first track from it is romantic. It's beautiful. It's wonderful. It's inspiring. It's lusciously produced. It sounds every bit as good as numerous highlights from Un Canto Volume 1. So, you know, come over here and get another helping, buddy. Get another helping. All right, Marina. Man, this track, when I first heard it, was a little off-putting for me. Purge the Poison is the title of it. I mean, it's kind of like her updated version of We Didn't Stop the Fire with a somewhat rowdy, goth-inspired guitar lick and a driving beat. It's very wordy, a lot of cultural references and stuff like that. You know, pointing to how toxic and awful the world is. It took me a few listens, though, but I really do like it now. And I like it as much as probably the last single that she put out there. So really looking forward to the new record. I think she's really getting daring with the new stuff. All right, we have Lucy Dacus, Hot and Heavy, new track, new single. I think it's one of her better tracks, period. It's a beautiful ballad, great vocal layering, and just immaculate indie singer-songwriter vibes. Give it a listen. All right, already talked about that one. Whoops, wrong button. Here we go. New one from Lord Huron. Just a beautiful shimmering ballad over here with great vocal harmonies. It's soaring. It's huge. Fleet Fox's fans should get on this shit. Long Lost is the title. It's great. We also have a new one from IDK with Offset on it. It's a banger. Some quotables on there. Good beat as well. Good flows. Good energy. I like it. We also have Sharon Van Etten continuing to tease toward her upcoming covers album of her what many see as a classic SVE record. This one over here is a cover from none other than Fiona Apple of the song Love More. And it rhythmically and vocally, it's very much in that Fetch the Bolt Cutters vein. And that's cool. That's great. You know, I think the added drums and percussion bring the song a lot of flavor. And I would dare say that Fiona continuing to, you know, mess with this sound. You know, I think it has maybe progressed a little bit since Fetch the Bolt Cutters, but yeah, I'll just leave it at that, and I think it's a cool version, so check it out. All right, moving from there, CupcakKe, Mosh Pit, banger alert, banger alert, banger alert. My God, the beat is so freaking hard, and CupcakKe, her bars just continue to amaze. Just love her energy, love her ferocity, love her intensity, and she's just coming at this track with all cylinders firing. Loving it. All right, we also have Cautious Clay, an artist whose music I hadn't dug too deep into before, but I had caught some people making a big deal of this new single over here, Karma and Friends. And it's just a beautiful piece of R&B with luscious instrumentation. Just loving the vibe, loving the energy. The vocals are quite good as well. My interest is piqued. Looking forward to hearing more. And I introduce you guys to give it a try too. Listen in. All right, and we also have this track over here from an artist that I'm also just stumbling upon as well. Anjimile. Oh my God. I told my brain, my dyslexic brain, that I was going to pronounce this. I was going to look up how the name was said, and I did, and then I was going to read it correctly, and of course I did not. So I'm embarrassing myself now, and I'm going to leave this in because I'm going to do that. All right, well, either way. In Your Eyes, Reflection is the title of this track. And this is just a really stunning, artsy Baroque pop cut with great strings all over it and quality vocals as well. I was just taken aback by how pretty it was from start to finish. So looking forward to more. Looking forward to more, and I encourage you guys to give this one a try too. It's easily the prettiest song I am recommending to you this week. So if that's your vibe, if you love some ornate instrumentation, give it a listen. Give it a shot. And that has been the weekly track roundup, everybody. That has been the weekly track roundup. Again, everything I talk about listed down below so you can check it out for yourself. And yeah, again, you're the best. I'll see you in the next video. Anthony Fantano, forever